This year is going to be insane for Bama. People are asking, how is Ty Simpson going to hold off two other QBs as talented as Austin Mack and Kelen Russell? At the end of the video I want to see your answer. Subscribe to the channel first. The battle for the quarterback position at Alabama is far from over, and if there's one name that could feel the pressure in this process, it's Ty Simpson. He enters the spring as the favorite to take over the position left by Milroe, but the truth is that nothing is guaranteed. The arrival of Austin Mack and Kelen Russell makes this battle one of the most intriguing in recent years in Tuscaloosa. Simpson has something his competitors don't: time in the program. He was Milroe's immediate backup for the past 2 seasons, appeared in 15 games and has been through a variety of situations on the field. However, that time in the program hasn't translated into significant production. He has only thrown 50 passes in his career and has yet to throw a touchdown. In an offensive system led by Kalen DeBoer that demands accuracy and quick reading of the quarterback, that raises a red flag. Another factor weighing against Simpson is the instability of the offensive line. Since arriving at Alabama, he has had 4 different offensive coordinators. Now, he will have to adapt to the style of Ryan Grubb, who has a successful track record in Washington. On the positive side, Nick Sheridan, his QB coach from last year, remains on the coaching staff, which could help provide some continuity in his development. Still, the pressure to perform will be enormous. The most significant playing time Simpson has seen was against South Florida in 2023, when he came in at halftime to replace a completely out-of-tune Tyler Buchner. Alabama won the game, but Simpson took 5 sacks and struggled in the pocket. Yes, he has improved since then and performed well on a day, but the big question is, will that be enough to hold off 2 young and extremely talented quarterbacks? Austin Mack, the prospect no one can ignore. If anyone can take advantage of Grubb's arrival at Alabama, it's Austin Mack. He spent his redshirt freshman year at Washington under DeBoer and Grubb, so he already knows the offensive system better than anyone on the roster. That's a huge advantage. Unlike Simpson, who has to learn a new offensive philosophy, Mack comes in with a clear understanding of what Grubb wants on the field. Physically, Mack has all the tools to compete. He has size, a strong arm, and was a top 100 draft prospect before reclassifying to the 2023 class. What remains to be seen is how he'll react to a higher level of competition. He was only the number 4 QB in Washington's rotation last year, so while he has talent, he'll need to show he can run the offense under pressure. What counts in Mack's favor is that Grubb was the one who drafted him. That may not mean he's guaranteed a spot, but it certainly means he'll be watched closely. If he excels in spring practice and the preseason, it wouldn't be surprising to see him pass Simpson in the pecking order. Kelen Russell, the future could arrive sooner than expected. And then there's Kelen Russell, the quarterback everyone knows as the future of the position at Alabama. As the highest-rated recruit in program history, he's expected to be the big name at the position for years to come. But can he force his way into the starting lineup by 2025? Russell is an incredible talent. He has a sharp arm, moves well in the pocket, and is already the most natural passer on the roster. The question is whether he can handle the transition from high school to college football. The college game is much faster and more physical, and at 175 pounds, he'll need to gain weight to handle the brunt of SEC defenses. However, Russell doesn't seem like the type of player who's content to sit on the bench. He'll want to play from day one, and if he shows he can run DeBoer's offense, the coaching staff will have a tough decision to make. Why will it be tough for Simpson to keep this job? The main reason Simpson could lose the starting job is that he has a lot more to prove than his competitors. He's been with the program for 3 years now, but he's never really established himself as a reliable QB. The coaching staff may look at him and see a player who hasn't capitalized on the opportunities he's been given. Meanwhile, Austin Mack has the advantage of already knowing the system and could quickly move up the pecking order. And even if Mack isn't the chosen one, Kelen Russell will be pushing to take over the job as soon as he's ready. What will that look like? Jalen Milroe is a name that has been making the rounds around the NFL, and now he's emerging as the potential to be the next quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's not hard to see why. The former Alabama offensive lineman is the kind of player that makes scouts scratch their heads and wonder, are we underestimating this guy? Because all indications are that we are. The draft talk has Milroe as a potential second-round pick. But the truth is that label may not mean much when teams with issues at the position start to evaluate their options. Just look at the Raiders. The franchise has been struggling for years trying to find stability under center, and if there's one player who can bring new dynamism to the offense, it's Milroe. The question isn't whether he can be a top-tier quarterback in the NFL, the question is when the Raiders will realize he might be the right fit for this rebuild. The buzz about Milroe is clear. He's a rare physical talent. He has a strong arm, a level of athleticism that makes defenders run, and a natural ability to extend plays that few quarterbacks have. He's the kind of guy who can solve games with both his arms and his legs, exactly the kind of QB that NFL defenses hate to face. His vision is highlighted as a plus, he sees the entire field, can sense pressure, and has a sense of what's going on around him. That's not something that comes easily. Of course, there are areas that need to be refined. Like any prospect, Milroe doesn't come in as a finished product. Consistency and accuracy, footwork, and throwing mechanics are all adjustments that need to be made. But when it comes to raw talent, few in this class of quarterbacks have the ceiling that he does. And what about ball security? That's a matter of adapting to the pro game. Many quarterbacks come in with those kinds of concerns and work through time and coaching. The narrative that he's not worth a first-round pick is questionable. The draft is about need, context and, most importantly, potential. The Raiders are in a position where they can't afford to make a mistake at quarterback. And Milroe brings something few players in this class can: explosiveness, physical presence, and the ability to change a game in the blink of an eye. If the Raiders are smart, they won't wait until the second round to pull the trigger. With a recent history of questionable decisions at the position, this is their chance to take a chance on a player who has the right tools to make a difference. Jalen Milroe could be exactly what Las Vegas needs, now all that's left is for the team to realize it. And speaking of recruiting, Alabama continues to bolster its defense with elite talent, and Chuck McDonald is yet another player who promises to make an immediate impact in Kane Wommack's system. Hailing from California, the former four-star arrives in Tuscaloosa with all the attributes a modern cornerback needs to excel in the SEC: size, athleticism, and versatility. And if there's one thing Alabama knows how to do well, it's turn promising youngsters into college football stars. McDonald fits perfectly into the mold of a physical, dynamic cornerback who can play multiple roles in the secondary. He has the length and strength to deal with physical receivers on the outside, but also the agility needed to play in the slot against faster targets. This gives Wommack enormous flexibility when it comes to setting up the defense. What stands out about McDonald's game is his naturalness in coverage. He is technical, has good reads, and knows how to position himself to contest receptions. In one-on-one situations, he's already shown himself to be more polished than Xavier Lee Jr., another talent recruited for the position. That doesn't mean McDonald will have a clear path to starting right away, but he's ready to compete. The question now is where exactly he'll be used. Will Wommack test him out right away as a cornerback? Or will his game fit better in the slot? Regardless of the starting position, one thing's for sure: Chuck McDonald has what it takes to be a strong name on Alabama's defense in 2025. Expectations are high, and he has the tools to deliver. And speaking of Justin Hill, Alabama is not wasting any time when it comes to replenishing talent, and K. Robinson's departure to the NFL opens up a valuable space for new names to emerge on the Crimson Tide's defensive front. Among the candidates to fill that spot at Wolf, one name that deserves attention is Justin Hill. The former four-star arrives in Tuscaloosa with a skill set that could make him a nightmare for opposing offenses from his freshman year. Hill is exactly the type of athlete that Alabama's defense loves to develop. He already has a solid physical build for a freshman, but he still has room to grow and strengthen within the program. His explosive first step and ability to get around blocks make him a natural threat as an edge rusher, and the big question will be how the coaching staff intends to utilize him. He could be that aggressive outside linebacker at Wolf, or, depending on his physical development, a versatile defensive end in Kane Womack's scheme. The competition for the starting spot will be fierce, with names like Quarusa and Ihanzi Pierre also in the running. But even if he doesn't start as a starter, Hill will certainly see plenty of action in the defensive rotation. Alabama has always found ways to get its most talented pass rushers on the field, and there's no reason why Hill won't be any different. Expectations are high, and he has all the tools to make an immediate impact. If he can translate his athleticism into consistent production, Justin Hill could very well become the next big thing on Alabama's defensive line. Let us know what you think.